Hi, welcome back. I'm pediatric pulmonologist, Dr. Mindy Ross. You may have caught my previous webinar about the evaluation of chronic cough, and today's talk continues from there and is about the treatment of chronic cough. So if you have any questions, please tweet them or comment on the Facebook live stream. And the outline of the talk today will be to go through a quick review again about the definition of chronic cough. We'll discuss options for treatment of chronic cough, including home remedies, medication, and prevention. And then finally, we'll review when and why to visit a pediatric pulmonologist. So first up, why do we cough? So we cough for many reasons. We cough to protect our airway from irritants. We cough to clear the mucus we make on a daily basis and the extra mucus we have when we're sick. And cough can be an early warning sign of disease. And the how do we cough? We have many cough receptors in our body. In this picture here, the dots show where they all are strategically located throughout the airway. And their job is to sense irritants and send signals up to the brain that sends signals back to the body to produce that cough. And so the definition, how do we know when a cough is chronic? The definition of chronic cough is based on time. And for comparison, an acute cough or a shorter term cough is one that lasts for a month, less than a month. And these are usually caused by viral illnesses. The symptoms last 7 to 14 days. And in 90% of the cases, the symptoms and the cough goes away on their own. But the cough is called chronic if this cough lasts for more than a month. There are some viral illnesses that cause a cough that lasts for more than 4 weeks, but the pediatric community uses this cutoff to make sure we're not missing any more serious underlying conditions. So when the cough becomes chronic, if it affects daily functioning or is associated with any other health problems, then this is when we become concerned and start looking for causes other than viral illness. And discovering the cause of a chronic cough can be challenging because there are many causes. First up, I'm listing the more common causes that we're looking for. And this is asthma, foreign body in the airway, or even in the ear that can trigger those cough receptors. Gastrointestinal issues can actually cause chronic cough. This would be gastroesophageal reflux or GERD, where food is coming up towards the airway and irritating and causing cough. Or children can have trouble swallowing and food can go towards their airway. Also, there's a tick cough, and then there could be habit coughs. A habit cough is a cough that often starts as a viral illness, but over time the cough receptors become more sensitive and it turns into this vicious cycle of this harsh, honking, loud cough. And it actually the habit cough can go away sometimes fairly quickly with specialized therapy and cough biofeedback. And then also there are infections that can cause chronic cough, a variety of them, bacterial, sometimes viral. And then there's something called the upper airway cough syndrome, formerly known as postnasal drip. And this is actually caused by underlying issues such as allergies, sinusitis, irritants such as smoke, or sometimes the tissue in the upper airway called the adenoids can be large and cause congestion and lead to cough, postnasal drip, and cough. And there are other common causes that are less common, and these often are conditions that children are born with. Sometimes there are some acquired causes, such as lung damage after an infection or because of some of the other conditions. And unfortunately, there can be tumors, so we have to be aware of causes such as that. And that's why it's important to involve a pediatric pulmonologist, because there are so many causes. We're trained to identify and treat and manage them. And so next up, I'll review the treatment for the chronic cough. But before I get into the details, just a couple words about the expectations when we're treating a chronic cough. And I wanted to get the bad news out of the way first. So there's not always a quick fix to treat chronic cough, unfortunately. the mainstay of treatment is symptom management, close monitoring, and reassurance. And also, a chronic cough can be very frustrating. It leads to poor sleep in children sometimes, missed school, work for parents, and sometimes even the cough becomes chronic and at some point it's not contagious anymore, but children may get sent home from school. And it's also frustrating for healthcare providers because we all really want to get rid of this cough very quickly, and sometimes it's just not possible. But then the good news is that the cause of the cough usually will be found. This may take thorough evaluation and frequent follow-up with the pediatric pulmonologist, but the cause is usually discovered, and many times the cough will go away. Depends on the underlying cause of what's causing the cough. And the good news is that we're here, pediatric pulmonologists, for you, and experts exist in this field who are trained to help treat chronic cough. So then first up, which is what I know a lot of people are interested in, are home remedies and things you can do at home that don't involve prescription or medication. And the one caveat for this is that the home remedies, they aren't usually specifically for chronic cough. They're often for colds or viral illnesses, the acute cough. But I'm mentioning them here because as long as they don't cause harm, they can be used often as what we say an adjunct or in addition to a treatment for the chronic cough. And if the cough doesn't improve or it's getting worse with things you're trying at home, please seek medical attention right away. And so first up is nasal saline rinse. And this acts as a decongestant and can help with cough that's caused from postnasal drip. And in younger kids, they'll need the saline drops and some bulb suctioning, and older kids will be able to blow their nose. And these saline rinses can be done as often as you think your child needs them throughout the day. Just be careful to avoid irritating the nose with the suctioning. And next is honey. So honey has actually been studied, and it's been shown that it can decrease the coughing for children at night and also help children get better sleep, and as well as the parents can sleep better too. And the actual mechanism of this isn't known of why it works. There's a lot of theories. It's thought that it can coat or smooth the throat. It's also thought to have antibacterial properties, antioxidant, or anti-inflammation properties as well. It's also thought that it can make more saliva, and this can trigger nerve receptors by the tongue that can decrease activation of cough. But nobody really knows, but it has been shown to have some effect. And the other big but about honey is that it is not recommended, do not give it to children who are under a year old. And this is because these younger children are at risk for a toxin that can be found in honey that can cause infant botulism, and this is a life-threatening condition. So children under 1 do not get honey. But if they're old enough, then you can give toddlers and younger kids about half a teaspoon at night, and older kids can get 1 to 2 teaspoons. And next is always, as very common, you'll hear this, is to drink liquids and stay hydrated. And this is because, when you're hydrated, also the mucus layer in your body and your airway is hydrated too. So the mucus is more thin and less sticky and can move out of your airway better when you cough. We actually want the mucus to move out of your airway. And also involving fluids are to drink warm, flavorful liquids. And we have to say, and this is thought to loosen secretions, but your elders were right that chicken soup or the tea with lemon can have an effect on cough and help it in theory. And yeah, it's thought to loosen secretions and also may stimulate some receptors near the tongue that can decrease cough activation. And then also some therapies that are commonly recommended but have not been studied as much as the others that I mentioned are the cool mist humidification. And so this can put mist into the air and humidify the airway and hydrate. And the only issue or risk with this is for people who have allergies, because the equipment is at risk for growing mold or fungus. So the thing to remember is to clean the equipment regularly and keep it in a well-ventilated area. And if the cough is worsening or symptoms are worsening or it's not working, then stop the therapy. And the other one is cough drops. This is for older children, and or lozenges, they're also called. And these are thought to be able to soothe and coat the airway, and also for people with habit cough, it can help distract them from coughing. And again, the risk with this one is that it can be a choking hazard. So just be careful that when children are using the throat lozenge, they're upright and they're not laughing or things like that. So we always want to think of risks and benefits of all the treatments that we give. The other thing it's not on here, but people wonder about is the vapor rub, aromatic vapor rub on the chest. That's not indicated for chronic cough. People do try to use that for the acute short-term cough and nasal congestion that has been shown to relieve the sensation of nose congestion in people. But because there are risks of rash, and if people use it incorrectly, it can actually worsen breathing symptoms. So it's not recommended in chronic cough. And then next up, I'll talk about medications you can use. So first, the over-the-counter medications. Unfortunately, these are for the cough and cold therapy and cough suppressant medications. These are not recommended in children under 6 years old, and they're not encouraged in children under 12 years old either. They're not encouraged for acute or chronic cough. And this is because research has shown that they are not much more effective than doing nothing or placebo. And there are many reports of toxic side effects. So nausea, dizziness, seizures, problems breathing, and there have been cases of overdose and death. So because of all those things, again, we're weighing the risks and benefits of all the therapy we use. Risks of using these medications with side effects versus the benefits, which might not be as high. So they're not recommended in young children. And even for older children who can take the medicine, there's still these considerations of side effects. So if your child's using the medicine and they have any side effects or it's not working, please stop the medication immediately. And also a quick note on the medications that suppress cough. This would be such as dextromethorphan, that's found in Robitussin or Delsym or some brand names. We don't recommend those either because of the side effects, but also again, we really encourage cough because that's what's helping to clear the mucus. And if mucus is stuck down in the throat, it can actually, or in the airway, it can actually lead to more problems and infections. So we do want people to clear the mucus. And so there are medications that are very targeted towards certain causes of chronic cough, and that's what I'll talk about next. The first one is asthma. And asthma is a condition that's often underdiagnosed and undertreated. So with the chronic cough, if your child has any other signs that suggest asthma, wheezing, triggers that are common for asthma, or lung function testing that suggests it, they will be started on a trial of asthma controller medication. And usually by the time they end up at the pediatric pulmonologist, the symptoms have been going on long enough and are often enough that they will need that daily controller medication instead of an as-needed medication. And this is the inhaled corticosteroid, which is the inhaler, slow-acting medication to help calm down the inflammation in the airways and prevent it from becoming worse with triggers or illness. And other medication, there are medication by mouth that are asthma controller medications as well, or the oral steroids if the cough is very bad and affecting your child greatly. There will be put on a 5-day course of oral steroids to help calm down the symptoms. And the important thing to remember, if you have an inhaler, for asthma, if you have an asthma medication inhaler, to always use the chamber or spacer with it, because this helps the particles be delivered properly down into the lungs. Instead of without it, it's oftentimes squirted more into the mouth and swallowed. So the spacer is very important because you're using medications, but we have to make sure they're being used properly. So another condition is allergies that there's specific treatment for. And these medications are called antihistamines. Some brand names are Zyrtec, Claritin, Allegra, and they help block this molecule called histamine, which causes all the allergic response in the body. And there's also some nasal corticosteroid sprays that can be used every day. They're slow acting. They also help to calm down the inflammation, such as Flonase or Nasonex, and those might be trialed as well. And the other condition that has specific treatment is gastroesophageal reflux, or GERD. And this is, I mentioned before, when the food comes up or the acid can trigger cough and wheezing. And so there is medication like Zantac or Prilosec that can help suppress or block the stomach acid. There's also medication that helps the gut move so the food stays down and doesn't come up towards the airway. But both of these conditions, you may have a trial of the treatment, or you may be referred to a specialist for treatment and further medication choices or testing or evaluation. And then lastly, a specific condition that might be causing the cough and has a treatment would be bacterial infections. And the treatment for this is antibiotics. And there are many different types of infections out there, so sometimes the recommendation will be a certain type of antibiotic for days, and sometimes it will be months. So the key is to have close guidance with your physicians and to come up with the proper diagnosis. And we really want to avoid overprescribing of antibiotics. So before you're started on the antibiotics, there might be other testing that's done first. And the key is, if you are prescribed the antibiotic, make sure that you complete the whole course. And then next up under treatment, I'm putting prevention, because that's always number one. If you can prevent getting a cough, that's the best. Or if you can prevent irritating your cough, that is great too. This is the first one I have on the list, is to avoid the triggers that worsen cough, such as tobacco smoke or allergens if you have allergies or asthma. Also important is not catching a cough or sharing germs with others. So always remember the good cough hygiene, to cover your mouth, not with your hand, which you touch people and things with your hand after you sneeze, but cover your mouth with your elbow like this and cough here. And also remember good hand washing. And also there are options available in terms of vaccines for some conditions that are known to cause chronic cough, such as pertussis, which causes the whooping cough. And also the flu vaccine can prevent influenza, and that's more known to cause long-term lung damage. So if we can prevent that, that is wonderful too. And lastly, when and why to visit us, the pediatric pulmonologists. So the when, if your child's cough is lasting more than a month, please come see us. If it's been less than a month but the cough is worsening, or if there are any red flag symptoms or other symptoms that are going along with the cough that seems more than a viral illness, and that would be if your child has any weight loss, other infections, also poor growth, or any other concerns that you may have. And the why? Why visit pediatric pulmonology? Well, we all have years of extra training in pediatric lung disease. And when you come into the clinic, we have specialized lung function testing that's performed by respiratory therapists who are experts, and they're very familiar with performing these tests with children. There are comprehensive symptom evaluation surveys and intake forms that we have. And I think really important is that we are a multidisciplinary team. There's a big team approach. We have respiratory therapists, certified pulmonary nurse specialists, dietitians, social work, and everyone's trained to teach and provide you with the best knowledge that we can about pediatric lung disease. And so here's our contact information. You can always go online and look us up, UCLA Pediatric Pulmonology. And in summary, for chronic cough is treatable, and there are many successful treatment options. The treatment depends on what we think is causing the cough. And when the cough is chronic, we strongly encourage evaluation by pediatric pulmonology because we can provide testing, monitoring, and close follow-up. And that's it. And if you have any questions, please tweet, and we'll answer some questions. Thank you. All right, is there a treatment for wet versus dry cough? And that's a good point. So the treatment that we choose is usually based on what we think is causing the cough, not exactly what the cough sounds like, but the sound of the cough can give us some clues. So the wet cough will make us think more of the gastroesophageal reflux of food coming up, or postnasal drip, or one of the possibly congenital lung diseases that makes it more difficult to clear mucus. Whereas the dry cough may make us think more of asthma or a foreign body, but it's not always 100% the sound of the cough. What if I don't bring my child to the doctor for a chronic cough? We all do hope that coughs go away, but a lot of times the chronic cough is more than just a viral illness. So we want to treat and identify that underlying cause of the cough as soon as we can. And this is so we can prevent any lung damage, long-term lung damage, or like I mentioned, if there's something like a lung tumor, we want to identify that as soon as possible and treat it right away. Can the color of the phlegm tell me anything about the cause of the cough? And like the sound, the color of the phlegm doesn't tell us exactly what's causing the cough, but there can be hints of clues of conditions going on. Like a yellow or green phlegm can mean an infection, viral or bacterial, so we can't tell the difference between those. Clear phlegm can be more like viral illness potentially, or allergies. And brown or red phlegm can mean something like blood. And what about air filters for chronic cough? And that's good, I didn't mention that. The air filters, they have been studied, and there is mixed evidence on that. And that's mixed evidence whether it works or not, but if the people have allergies to animal dander, dogs and cats, it seems like the air filters can help. We won't say don't try them, so I'd say try them. They can be expensive, but welcome to try them, and if they help, that's wonderful. But we can't say that we would guarantee that they would help the cough. And I think that's it. So thank you for joining me today, and you can check out our group's other pulmonary webinars on our website. And have a great day.